Hello, my name is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about some of the funniest things we've ever heard from patients. Coming right up. So when you think about funny things that patients say, sometimes it's funny things that happen to them, and sometimes they're funny things that they say. So I want to talk about a few of those with you. So the first one is the wrong hearing aid in the wrong ear. So this is an in-the-ear hearing aid that you'll see potentially right there. This one is actually for the right ear, okay? So I'm gonna pop out my hearing aids for a second. And I had a guy that walked into me, this is a very long time ago, probably 25 years ago. Now, normally this would fit in the ear like that, fit flush up. Okay, and so the patient walked in, and I hadn't really, I'm just asking a few questions, I hadn't fully looked up, and he had that hearing aid in like this, and I hadn't really looked at him that closely yet. That was a mistake of being a young audiologist. And he comes in, and he is hot. He's like, this hearing aid hurts my ears. I've been wearing it for a week. They're whistling, and he is just going after me. And I'm not totally used to that at the time. And again, it took me a while, and I finally, hold on. Pull out the hearing aid, pop it in the other side. He goes, instantly feels better. It's a common mistake. Now, it happens, but trust me, it's happened to a lot of people. But there are also issues related to that. They can fit a little too tight. If you have something that's too tight, just tell us about it. It's easy for us to fix. We can definitely do that, some stuff in office. We can remake it for you. Happy to help take care of it, but we've had them in the wrong ears. So we've had other patients. My second one is by a guy named Rickles. That's what we called him. Rick, went with me to a fair. This is also about 25 years ago. This is in the analog era, so I need to set it up for you. In the analog era, we had a very few adjustments that we could actually do for patients. I mean, I had a screwdriver, and I still have it to this day, that you could turn up and down a few spots, but you couldn't take care of all the issues that happen related to hearing aids. So this guy's giving Rickles the business. I mean, you know, my hearing aids are bugging me. They're so noisy. There's all this background noise issues, and just goes on, and I could kind of hear him in the background. Now, Rickles is kind of new in the field, so I was kind of listening to the side about what was happening, and so was I, by the way, at the time. And he's summed it up with this point. He said, "You know that train track that we went by?" And the patient's like, "Well, yeah." He said, "If you didn't hear the background noise, bam, you'd be dead." And that was the funniest part. I just was like, you gotta be kidding me, you didn't say that. But that is actually one of the coolest things that he could have said. You know, bam, you'd be dead. Well, the reality is background noise is there. And he used to say, background noise is your friend. Now, hearing aids now, we can actually adjust for that, but that's some of the fun stuff that we hear. Oh, this is a good one. So this patient comes in to me, and she has an in the ear, just like you had, I just had in my ear. And we did not have a loss and damage at the time frame. Loss and damage policies are kind of a newer invention over the last 20, 30 years, but they didn't happen all the time. And the company I worked for at the time didn't have the loss and damage. So I'm not sure what she was thinking. She said, and there's this little, marks all over it. And I said, "So how did you get that?" "Well, there was a woodpecker, and he was pecking in my ear." A what?" "Yeah, it's a woodpecker." I'm like, "You didn't stop the woodpecker on your shoulder pecking in your ears?" And I pulled it out, and I said, "Let me show you. It looks like there's a bite mark. Do you have a tiny little dog?" She goes, well, yeah. And I said, there's 2 bite marks right on here. Sometimes dogs love to eat hearing aids. It sounds gross to you, but it tastes good. And that's one of the things that can happen to you. Now, I'll tell you something else. Now, we've had patients accidentally drop even some of the smaller hearing aids in a peanut bowl. And he picks out, and he's not even really kind of watching. So he's going along and eating his peanuts while he's watching the movie, and takes a bite out of something that doesn't taste right. And you guessed it, it's the hearing aid. So those are the fun things, some of the fun things that we have. I'll give you a good one here. There was a patient who had a pet squirrel. Now, I'm not sure how you have a pet squirrel. I don't know enough about that information. But the pet squirrel got to his hearing aids, and guess the pet name? Skippy. Skippy ate his hearing aids. Now, on most of the hearing aids we have today, they have a one-time loss and damage policy. I utilize companies that have normally a 3-year warranty, but they have a one-time loss and damage policy to take care of you. So tell us about it. Now, there's a deductible, but it's covered in any other way than that. So we had this other patient that came into our office, and he said, I'm on the boat all the time. And this is also about 2 or 3 years ago, where we didn't have really good protection over wetness. And so we said, okay, we'll put your hearing aids in a baggie if you're in a boat, just in case you're worried about that. So he does. He puts the hearing aids in the baggie and has it in his pocket, and that weekend it falls out and he watches the baggie float away. He's kind of like, well, guess what? That's a loss and damage just the same way. And we always have to tell the manufacturer, this is how it was lost. And I'm going to tell you next week, when I share with you a few more, I'm going to share with you some of the ones from Starkey, one of our favorite hearing aid manufacturers. They're going to tell us some cool stories about it. So I'm going to bring you some of those fun stories by my inside rep named Chris. So here, guys, there are so many fascinating things that can happen, but some of that stuff is fear. It brings you to, what happens if this is not covered? Guess what? Hearing aids, our manufacturers will take care of most of the things unless they're smashed or lost. But even they will cover a one-time loss and damage policy. So don't worry about it too much. Listen, we have all those kinds of issues that happen out there. And don't be too bothered about it, because the reality is 10% of our patients over the years lose or damage their hearing aids. They always walk in really upset about it. It's not that big a deal. It's something that we can take care of. So we're at HearTulsa.com. Just come by, talk to us about it. You can leave some comments. Tell me about some of your craziest things that might have happened to you with your hearing aids. And you can always subscribe to us, and we'll share with you some of the cool stories that Starkey, the hearing aid manufacturer, has for us related to that same issue. Thank you so much.